1 week left, and then it's playoff time. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett here on the iRick Real Estate Pilot Point Football Show as the Bearcats get a massive win over, the Bearcats of Wattsboro in a thriller 45-20. The game was closer at times than that, but more importantly for Pilot Point, it locks up the number 2 seed for the playoffs. Looks like it's probably going to be West. Now, there's a way West can get out of the third place spot over in 7-3A Division I, but that would take beating the district champion Whitney, maxing out the points by, I think, 17, and then winning a coin flip. So most likely it'll be Pilot Point versus West in the first round. But before that, the Bearcats do have to finish their season off with a team that's going to be a tough one in Dallas, like Life Oak Cliff, I should say. The Lions 5-4 overall, 2-3 in district. Very, very dynamic offense. Defense is where they can struggle, and consistency at times. But this is still going to be a fun game. And if you get Life Oak Cliff have been, eliminated from the playoff race. If you get a team that's, wanting to go out there and have fun for their final game and give it their all, this could be a lot like last year, back and forth early. Or you could get a team that's like, hey, the season's over. Let's pack the equipment. Let's go play basketball. I don't know. But I do know the talent on the field for the Lions is pretty salty. When you look at what they've done on the year, they got beat by Pottsboro, but only by 3 points. Got beat by Wattsboro by 7. Now, the Palmer game did get out of hand for them a couple weeks ago, but they had a couple defensive injuries, and Palmer was able to exploit that. So, again, Pilot Point should win this game, but I don't think that this is a give-me game for the Bearcats. We want to thank our title sponsor, and that's Chance Kirby, broker at iRick Real Estate. Give him a call, 940-300-6900. If you're considering buying in the Lake Ray Roberts area, why call him? Well, A, he's an awesome super dude, and he's going to get you the best value you can. He also has over a quarter of a century experience in the Lake Ray Roberts area, so why not call someone who knows what they're doing? So give Chance a call, 940-300-6900. And when we come back, it's the head coach of the Bearcats, Coach Chad Worrell, right here on the iRick Real Estate Pilot Point Football Show. With Pilot Point making the playoffs, I do want to remind everybody each and every week, Grant Goodwin and I will talk 2A, 3A, and 4A playoff football here in the state of Texas on Sideline to Sideline. It is our 18th year of doing this. This is our favorite time of the year. It's the playoffs. We're so excited. So, again, you can check us out. Now, this week starting, we will go back to 3 shows. We had been doing 1 show the last few weeks as the season was winding down, but we'll get back to 3 shows, 1 for 2A, 1 for 3A, and 1 for 4A. And that's because we pick every playoff game each week in the season. So check us out, youtube.com/at L4 Media Company, or on our podcast page, S2S grantandterry.com, and on every podcast platform. That's Sideline to Sideline on L4 Media. Terry Bennett back here on the Pilot Point Football Show. Now joined by the head coach of the Bearcats, Coach Chad Worrell. And, Coach, I know we've said this a couple times already, but what a massive win against Wattsboro, 45-20. This was one of those, just kind of like the Palmer game, a program-defining win.
It was. I mean, I tell you what, Wattsboro's had our number the last few years, and it's kind of turned into a rivalry game for us with our old rivalries moving up and growing, kind of getting bigger than us. And so it was a huge win. I mean, it was a good football team. They're well coached. Coach Fagan and his staff do a great job over there. And man, I was just proud for our kids. I'm always proud of our kids, but proud for them that, they were able to get that win at home on senior night, and especially being over Wattsboro.
Yeah, I was going to say, you talked about they've had your number, first win since 2021 for Pilot Point over Wattsboro. I mean, let's be fair. This has been a lot of firsts for this year's football team.
Yeah, no, like I said, it seems every week, they just go above and beyond, what was expected of them. And, coming into the year, picked 4th in the district and getting that win over Wattsboro locked up the number 2 spot for us. And, I'm just super proud of the way our kids, I always am, this group, man. They're such good kids. They do what's asked of them, and the parents and everyone, involved with the program, the coaching staff and everybody else is just went above and beyond what was asked of them, and have faith in what we were trying to do last year when we were struggling early. And so for that to pay off this year has been neat to watch. I'm happy for them.
Talking about all the accolades and stuff, but let's talk about actual on the football. How important was it getting a number 2 seed for the playoffs?
Well, I mean, that, you don't know. I mean, we got another game to play tonight. I'm sure we'll get to later, but that other district, just looking at them, they're really tough, top 3 teams. But yeah, you'd always rather go in playing a 3 seed from another district than going in like last year and having to face the 1 seed as the 4. And so, I think it helps, and hopefully we'll find out who we play after tonight and get the focus on them. But right now, you always want to beat people. You always want to finish as high as you can those district standings, and being the 2 seed, locking it up going into week 10 is a big deal.
All right, well, let's talk about this week's opponent, Live Oak Cliff. Last year, this was a win and get in game, kind of turned into a basketball game. And to be honest, with the offensive talent they have, it could happen again this year.
It could. I mean, they played everyone close, and they put up points against everyone. I think it was, they played Pottsboro within 3 points, 52-49, and I mean, they played Wattsboro within a couple of points, and I mean, they can score the points. They've got have had some injuries, and they had a kid move off from last year's team, but they had another kid come up as a freshman, and he's one of the top receivers in the nation. I noticed he was offered by Ohio State, Notre Dame, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, amongst some of them. And for a freshman to garner those kind of Division I Power 5 offers, I mean, it tells you how special he is. And with their quarterback went down against Wattsboro, so they've moved him to quarterback, so they're getting the ball in his hands at every snap now. And he's dangerous. I mean, he's hard to corral, hard to tackle, and we got our work cut out for us tonight.
I was going to say, I mean, we could talk about scheming and all that kind of stuff, but when you're playing a talent like this, a guy like you said is a D1 talent, I mean, what all can you throw at him?
You're just limited. I mean, it really comes down to fundamentals. I mean, you're going to get your kids. Kids are going to be in the spots they need to be in. They have to make the plays in space, and that's a lot easier said than done. And our kids tackle well, and they rally to the ball well, and I think that's really important in trying to stop someone like that. Not doing it with one person. One person getting a hold of him or corralling him up, and then there's 2 or 3 more there to make the tackles. And I think that's the key to stopping that talent. And that's really what we focused on this week was, we do a good job of tackling, and we do a good job of rallying to the football and with effort on defense. And that's really just what we've talked about, is making sure that, we don't take any plays off. You get tired, make sure we get somebody else in for you, because we need fresh legs out there.
Now, their defense isn't great, but I will say this, looking and comparing from last year, it feels like that their defense is a little bit improved from where they were last year.
They are. Coach Welton Johnson done a great job, and he's done a great job with their defense, and they play a really sound defense on that side. But they platoon their players a lot, and so they play with different kids on the defensive side than they do the offensive side for the most part, and they're a lot more fundamental. I think a lot sounder, and they're a year older than they were last year, and so we've got to execute on offense and make sure that we don't do the things that's gotten us into trouble. When we've gotten in trouble this year offensively, it's because of unforced, turnovers, like fumbled exchanges or whatever, and getting behind the chains with pre-snap penalties. And so we've got to make sure we take care of business. We don't want to be behind the chains against these guys.
Is there a point in your head where you go, okay, I've seen enough of the starters tonight. Let's pull them. Let's get ready for the playoffs. Or is this we're going in to treat this like we need to win this game to win district?
No, we're going to go in to win this game. Man, I've just never been a believer, especially in week 10, that you can, like the NFL does, whatever, that you can pull guys and lose a game going. I think going into the playoffs with momentum and confidence, especially with high school kids and playing well, is more important than, resting your starters. I think them getting out there and playing and keeping yourself in your routine. And, the only way we pull starters is the case with any games. I mean, we've got a huge lead and we want to get those guys, get those other guys some playing time. But in terms of going in and approaching this game, I was clear with our kids, on Monday, we're full bore ahead on winning this thing, because I just think momentum and confidence is huge going into the playoffs.
As always, we want to thank Coach Chad Wall for joining us here on the iRick Real Estate Pilot Point Football Show. I like that he's still focused on Life Oak Cliff. Again, this game doesn't really matter as far as in terms of playoffs or positioning or anything like that. But, as me and him were talking off the air, for a Pilot Point senior class that has went through so much and has kind of rebuilt the program on the fly, the idea of resting, they probably are thinking, no, we want to play. We want to enjoy every moment we can of this season, starting from this group that just 2 years ago was 0-9. So they want all the success, and that means being on the field. And that's how Coach Worrell's already done it, always done it. And I kind of agree with that. Why stop a machine that's rocking and rolling, man? Sometimes those bye weeks or pulling back when you don't need to can sometimes, in my opinion, lead to some inconsistencies. And again, also for a program that's relearning how to win, you want to keep that pedal on the metal is the way I feel about it. Because also Life Oak Cliff, man, this is going to be a road trip into Life Oak Cliff. It's going to be an interesting game. Again, if the Lions are engaged and they want to go out swinging and have a blast, they are athletic enough and they score enough points that they can beat Pilot Point. There's no doubt about that, and Coach knows that. Now, for Pilot Point, it's just doing what you've been doing all year long, playing good on offense, opportunistic defense, and make the big plays when they do it. Either way, though, we'll be talking Pilot Point next week. Now, next week, the shows will move to Wednesday because the playoff games are on Thursday. A little bit more time-consuming for coaches on game day. So we'll move the show to Wednesday, and I'll put them out Wednesday afternoon before the Thursday playoff game. But either way, until then, enjoy your travels going to the game. Have fun. And until next time, this has been the iRick Real Estate Pilot Point Football Show on L4 Media.